This case starts with a question no parent ever wants to hear in open court. Why were you hitting a 5-year-old child in public? What unfolds here is not just a criminal sentencing. It's a painful breakdown of parenting, accountability, and the emotional damage words can cause. Prosecutors say the mother repeatedly slapped her young daughter at a restaurant because the child refused to eat. But the physical discipline wasn't the only issue. Witnesses reported hearing something even more devastating, that the mother said she didn't want her child anymore. That single statement may have hit harder than any slap ever could. Now the judge is about to examine every layer of this case: the abuse allegation, the child's living situation, the mother's excuses, and whether rehabilitation is even possible. This courtroom quickly transforms from a legal hearing into a raw lesson about what children carry emotionally when adults lose control. Watch closely, because the judge's words in this case are sharp, emotional, and unforgettable. And by the end, the sentence handed down proves this wasn't just about punishment, it was about protecting a child before more damage was done. Ask yourself now, should courts be tougher on parents who humiliate children publicly, or should rehabilitation always come first? Let's get into it.
But you said in the police report I'm reading, you said that you didn't want her anymore. So I don't understand this. I don't understand someone repeatedly slapping a 5-year-old for not eating. So what do you think that did to her day? I'm sorry? I mean, what did that do to her day? So she's at a restaurant, probably a restaurant that she did not choose to go to, and you're slapping her, according to you, because she won't eat food. And then you're pushing the stroller. I'm assuming you're pushing it angrily, because then the people at the restaurant said you told her and told everybody you didn't want her anymore.
Your Honor, if I may, this event occurred in the Zane
22 CR 7879, State of Texas versus Linnea Ray. You understand you're charged with the offense of injury to a child as a third-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea bargain agreement and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you, and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand? In States Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty. The court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
we already got you wait, please, sir.
Anything you want to say on behalf of your client?
First, I would note that she has completed the anger management within the jail. She'll get her certificate next week, and there is a CPS plan. No, excuse me.
Yes.
And there is a CPS plan in effect.
All right, how old is this child?
My daughter just turned 5 this year.
All right, so why would you be hitting your child because she doesn't want to eat?
I'm lost control.
But you said in the police report I'm reading, you said that you didn't want her anymore. So I don't understand this. I don't understand someone repeatedly slapping a 5-year-old for not eating. So what do you think that did to her day? I'm sorry? I mean, what did that do to her day? So she's at a restaurant, probably a restaurant that she did not choose to go to, and you're slapping her, according to you, because she won't eat food. And then you're pushing the stroller. I'm assuming you're pushing it angrily, because then the people...
This is where the case shifts from physical discipline to emotional trauma. The judge isn't focused only on the slapping anymore. She's focused on what that child likely felt in that moment. Imagine being 5 years old, surrounded by strangers, embarrassed in public, then hearing your own mother say she doesn't want you. That kind of rejection can leave scars long after bruises fade. Judges often look at the total impact of abuse, and here the emotional component may be just as serious as the physical act. What's also important is that the defendant admitted losing control. Courts hear that phrase constantly. But losing control as an adult around a child can have lifelong consequences for the child. So the real question becomes, is this someone who made one terrible mistake, or someone who still doesn't understand the damage done? Let me know in the comments. Where do you think the line is between discipline and abuse?
And at the restaurant said you told her and told everybody you didn't want her anymore.
Your Honor, if I may, this event occurred in the dining area of the Havens for Hope.
Yeah.
It's not in it.
Well, that's even worse. Because one, you now have a child who's staying at Haven for Hope. And I don't think she bought into, hey, let me be born to this mother where I'm placed at Haven for Hope. So where is the child now?
My son's grandparents.
And you say your son's grandparents. I mean, how are they related to her?
They're not.
So now she's with people she doesn't even know, who doesn't really have, well, they really don't have a biological connection to her.
They know her. They spend time with her.
Yeah. And you don't know how they're treating her, though.
No, they take care of all of my children.
Because you're not?
No, because they love them as their grandchildren. Even my two that aren't biologically related.
And what is Child Protective Services doing?
I agreed to allow her to stay there till I successfully complete my program.
Yeah, I'm not going to order. I know outside the agreement it's no harm for induced contact, but I'm not going to allow you to have contact with.
Listen carefully to the judge here, because this is more than a lecture. It's a psychological breakdown of childhood trust. The judge explains that most children believe one thing above all else, that their parents are the safest people in the world. When that trust is broken publicly, it can shatter a child's confidence. That's why the court keeps returning to the child's feelings instead of only the criminal charge. The judge also connects something many people overlook. Children don't separate embarrassment from identity. A 5-year-old may not think, Mom made a mistake. She may think, Mom doesn't love me. That distinction matters. Courts handling child abuse cases often consider emotional safety just as seriously as physical safety. And honestly, this may be one of the most powerful moments of the hearing because the judge is speaking for a child too young to fully speak for herself. Do you think more judges should address emotional harm this directly in court?
Her until you go through some type of therapy. It takes a lot for a parent to have birthed a child in the world, right? Or either for a father to have a child to, in public, in front of everybody, hit that child several times and then say, you don't want them anymore. I can't even imagine how she feels with you telling her that. Do you know what that did to her confidence? And do you know how that made her feel? Because on the planet, everybody is hoping that their mom or their dad loves them more than everybody else. Everybody is hoping that as a child, you can always run to your mom for protection. And instead of doing that, you hit her in front of everybody. And guess what? Do you know what embarrassment that probably caused her and what it caused her because she realizes that maybe her mom don't love her and then you're saying you don't want her anymore? And I'm not trying to be mean to you, but you need to realize what you did and how that affected her. Because now her confidence is probably less than zero. Now she probably thinks her mom doesn't love her. And the embarrassment of it all in front of everybody. And I'm sure there were other children probably there too. And who knows what they probably said to her afterwards, maybe, ha ha, your mom doesn't love you. So she's already dealing with the fact that she doesn't have a mom who can have her in a home or an apartment, but has her at Haven for Hope. And she's dealing with all of that. And who knows what she's dealing with at school, because children can be cruel. And people say children are cruel because they don't know any better. It's because their parents don't teach them any better. So she's at school, and I'm sure they probably know she's staying at Haven for Hope. And then she has all of this other stuff that she's dealing with. And she doesn't have her own little private space where she can go and just decompress. Instead, she's having to deal with you, and you're putting your adult problems on her. I am not going to allow her to have contact with this child until she goes through some kind of therapy, and the child goes through therapy to see, does she want to be with mom? Does she trust mom to take care of her and not injure her? So that's what I'm doing. So knowing that, do you all still want to continue with the agreement? All right. This is what the court is going to do. The court is going to sentence you to 4 years in prison, suspended and probated for 6 years. There's a $1,500 fine that will be probated. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's to be no contact with minors. There's to be no contact with Sky Ray. And counsel, you can approach after she's completed therapy and after the child has had some therapy, you can always approach and ask me to lift the no contact order. But for now, there's to be no contact.
Understand.
There's 150 hours of community service restitution. 40 of those hours will be waived if you provide proof of the COVID vaccination. The court is not.
Now comes the sentence, and it's layered with restrictions. 4 years in prison, suspended, then probation, means the defendant avoids immediate incarceration but remains under intense court supervision. That tells you the judge saw potential for rehabilitation, but only under strict control. No contact with minors, no contact with her own child, community service, parenting classes, therapy, field visits, random testing. This is the court saying freedom is conditional and trust must be earned back step by step. Notice what the judge prioritizes most, not punishment alone, but child safety. Even supervised visitation won't happen automatically. She must return to court, show progress, and involve child services and the child's attorney. That's a major signal that the child's interests now come first in every decision. Some viewers may think this was lenient, others may think it was balanced. What do you think? Should she have gone straight to prison, or was structured probation the smarter move?
Not requiring you to get the COVID vaccination, but if you do, 40 of those hours will be waived. There's to be parenting classes with Triple T. Of course, this Child Protective Services is giving her parenting classes. The court will accept that. I don't want any overlapping of services. So why are you at Haven for Hope?
Your Honor, if I may, one question.
Yes.
Parenting classes may involve some supervised visitation between her and the child. But you preventing
She will have to approach the court. And when you approach the court on that, the CPS worker needs to be here and also the child's attorney.
Understand.
All right. So why were you at Haven for Hope?
I lived in my apartment for 7 years. The caseworker that had my file, she quit. So everybody that was on her desk got delayed. So my two options was to renew my lease for a couple of months and then have a broken lease once my new voucher came in. I only needed to wait 30 days until my new voucher came in. I already did all the paperwork, everything was done. I was just staying at Haven for Hope until my voucher kicked in. I found an apartment within the first week. It was a brand new apartment, a 2-bedroom. I was just waiting for my voucher to come in.
All right. So why are you not working?
I get SSI,
For what?
mental health.
All right. There's going to be proof of employment or SSI
I have those documents.
within 45 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. CPS compliance. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. I'm going to want field visits probation. Sorry, it's going to be 4 times per month, and they need to go into the home and make sure that there are no minors in the home. And we're going to do random UAs. And those field visits and random UAs will be until further notice. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Oh, I'm sorry, anger management classes. And make sure that's intensive. And she's going to have to do anger management classes other than what she's been given at the jail. Probation, is there anything else she needs? All right. Ms. Ray, is there anything else you need from the court? I'm going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that document with your attorney Did you understand it and did you sign it? Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand? Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? And also, because this is an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. All right, good luck to you. We can go off the record. Here's the thing. If you cannot raise your children, if you cannot be patient with them, then you need not raise them. Someone else needs to do that. Do you understand?
This courtroom case became much bigger than one bad moment in a restaurant. It exposed how quickly anger can become abuse, and how words spoken in frustration can deeply wound a child. The judge ultimately imposed a felony sentence with probation, strict no-contact orders, therapy requirements, parenting education, and heavy monitoring. In plain terms, the court decided the child needed protection first, while giving the mother one controlled chance to rebuild her life and possibly earn trust back later. The broader lesson here is powerful. Parenting is responsibility, patience, and emotional control. When those fail, the legal system can and will intervene. Cases like this remind everyone that children remember more than adults think, and courts are increasingly recognizing emotional harm alongside physical harm. If you found this case as shocking as we did, make sure to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more jaw-dropping courtroom breakdowns.
All right. Thank you.